Ladies and gentlemen, life is full of challenges, but one of the most difficult obstacles is dealing with someone who hurts you, whether it's emotional, mental, or physical pain. The experience of being hurt by someone you care about can leave lasting scars. But it's essential to understand that how you respond to this hurt is within your control. The key to overcoming this challenge is to take proactive steps toward healing and self-preservation. The first step in handling a man who hurts you is recognizing the signs of hurt in your relationship. It can be easy to dismiss hurtful behavior, especially when the person hurting you is someone you love. But understanding what emotional or physical abuse looks like is crucial. Emotional abuse can be subtle, such as manipulation, belittling comments, or controlling behavior. Physical abuse is often easier to identify, but both forms are equally damaging. The key is to understand that abuse in any form is unacceptable, and it is not something you should tolerate in a relationship. Recognizing these patterns is the first step in taking action to protect yourself. Once you identify the behavior, it is essential to set boundaries. Boundaries are about defining what is and isn't acceptable. If someone is hurting you, it's vital to communicate your needs and establish clear limits. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you deserve respect and care. Setting boundaries may mean asking for space, limiting contact, or even ending the relationship entirely. You must remember that your emotional and physical well-being is more important than any relationship. And sometimes walking away from someone who hurts you is the best thing you can do for your future. In addition to setting boundaries, seeking support is paramount. Dealing with hurt can be isolating, but it's crucial to lean on those who care about you. Surround yourself with people who respect and love you, and don't hesitate to reach out for professional help if necessary. Therapy or counseling can help you process your emotions and gain clarity on the best steps to take. Often, when we're too close to a situation, we can't see things clearly. That's why an outside perspective is invaluable. Trust the people around you who have your best interests at heart. Self-care is an often overlooked aspect of dealing with hurt. After experiencing pain, it's easy to feel broken or lost, but healing requires that you prioritize yourself. Taking care of your body and mind is essential in rebuilding your self-worth. Engage in activities that bring you joy, whether it's exercising, meditating, journaling, or spending time with loved ones. Healing takes time, and it's essential to be patient and compassionate with yourself. Understand that you deserve to heal and that your future is bright once you've worked through this difficult time. Lastly, recognize the importance of self-respect. No one deserves to be hurt, and the sooner you realize your value, the quicker you'll begin to heal. When someone hurts you, it is not a reflection of your worth, but of their inability to treat you with the respect and care you deserve. Self-respect is foundational in any healthy relationship. And when someone crosses that line, you must protect it at all costs. You have every right to demand respect and kindness in your relationships, and you should never settle for anything less. Forgiveness is an important part of the process, but it should never come at the expense of your self-respect. Forgiveness is not about excusing hurtful behavior. It's about letting go of the anger and bitterness that hold you back. Once you forgive, you free yourself from the chains of resentment. But that doesn't mean you allow someone to continue to hurt you. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to stay with them or continue tolerating their mistreatment. It means you are choosing peace for yourself. In conclusion, handling a man who hurts you requires courage, wisdom, and a strong sense of self-worth. You deserve love, respect, and kindness. And never forget that you have the power to create the life and relationships you want. By recognizing the signs of hurt, setting boundaries, seeking support, practicing self-care, valuing self-respect, and understanding forgiveness, you will not only overcome the hurt, but become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The journey to healing is not easy, but it is worth every step you take. Recognizing the signs of emotional or physical abuse is crucial in understanding how to handle a man who hurts you. Often, we dismiss negative behavior or justify it due to love or attachment, but it's essential to recognize harmful patterns early. Emotional abuse is especially difficult to identify because it can be subtle and manipulative. It might involve belittling, controlling behaviors, guilt-tripping, constant criticism, or gaslighting, where the victim is made to feel that their feelings and perceptions are invalid. In these situations, it's important to trust your instincts and understand that emotional abuse, though harder to detect, can have long-lasting effects on your mental well-being. Physical abuse, on the other hand, may be more obvious, but it doesn't always present itself in obvious forms. While bruises and injuries might be the most visible signs, physical abuse can also manifest through intimidation, pushing, slapping, or any form of bodily harm. Recognizing these actions early on is critical for your safety and well-being. It's not just about avoiding injury, but understanding that any form of physical abuse is a violation of your rights and boundaries. Whether it's emotional or physical, abuse in any form is not acceptable, and the first step in addressing it is to acknowledge that you are being harmed. It's also important to remember that abuse doesn't just occur in extreme situations. Constant emotional neglect, a lack of appreciation, and the inability to communicate openly and respectfully are all harmful to a person's mental health. Even if there are no bruises, the emotional scars left by a partner's actions can last for years. Recognizing these signs early on will empower you to take the necessary steps to protect yourself before things escalate. Sometimes we accept hurtful behavior because we want to believe the best in people, or we are afraid of the consequences of confronting the truth. However, the longer you stay in an unhealthy or abusive relationship, the harder it becomes to break free. The first step is to identify what's going on, allowing yourself to accept that the behavior is not your fault and that you deserve better. Once you've recognized these patterns, you can begin to make informed decisions about what steps to take next, whether that means seeking professional help, talking to loved ones, or eventually ending the relationship if the behavior doesn't change. Understanding the signs of emotional and physical abuse can also help you become aware of how you might be enabling or excusing these behaviors. For example, if you find yourself constantly apologizing for your partner's actions or rationalizing their behavior, it might be a sign that you are neglecting your own emotional needs. Sometimes, people stay in harmful relationships out of fear, guilt, or a belief that they can change their partner. However, recognizing that change is only possible if the abuser is willing to acknowledge their behavior and seek help is a key realization. If you are the only one trying to make things better and your partner continues to hurt you, it's time to take a step back and assess the situation from a place of clarity and self-respect. In conclusion, identifying and recognizing abuse in any form is the first step towards taking control of your life and well-being. No matter how much you love someone, it's essential to understand that being hurt, whether emotionally or physically, is never justified. Setting boundaries and protecting yourself is one of the most vital steps in handling a man who hurts you. Boundaries are not just limits set in relationships. They are a reflection of your self-respect and your commitment to protecting your emotional and physical well-being. Establishing boundaries is not a sign of weakness or selfishness. Rather, it is an essential aspect of maintaining your dignity and self-worth. In relationships, healthy boundaries ensure that both individuals feel respected, valued, and heard. When someone continually disrespects your boundaries, it's a clear indication that the relationship may not be healthy, and immediate action should be taken to protect yourself. Setting boundaries starts with clear communication. If your partner is consistently hurting you, you must express how their behavior makes you feel. This can be an uncomfortable conversation, especially if you are used to tolerating the hurt, but it is a necessary one. Let your partner know that certain behaviors are unacceptable and that you will no longer tolerate being treated poorly. It's essential to stand firm in your declarations and avoid making excuses for their actions. Sometimes people may test your boundaries intentionally or unintentionally to see if you'll back down. It's important not to waver. For example, if your partner yells at you, belittles you, or crosses other boundaries you've set, let them know that you will not accept this behavior and will not engage in a conversation unless there is mutual respect. If you do not enforce your boundaries, the other person may continue to hurt you without realizing the extent of their actions. In some cases, the person who is hurting you may argue or dismiss your boundaries altogether. This is a red flag. A healthy relationship is based on mutual respect, and when someone tries to invalidate your boundaries, they are signaling that they do not care for your feelings. This is when you need to consider how much value you place on your emotional health and whether it is worth continuing the relationship. Setting boundaries might mean limiting contact with the person who hurts you, or if necessary, taking a break to reassess the relationship's future. It's important to understand that you are not responsible for another person's actions, but you are fully responsible for how you allow others to treat you. By setting boundaries, you empower yourself to take control of the situation. Beyond verbal communication, setting boundaries also means protecting your emotional space. If your partner's words or actions continually bring you down or make you feel unsafe, it's important to remove yourself from that environment. This might include stepping away from the situation when things get heated, not engaging in conversations that lead to conflict, or distancing yourself physically from someone who makes you feel threatened. These actions show that you prioritize your safety and well-being and that you will not tolerate being harmed in any way. Setting boundaries also involves knowing when to ask for space and recognizing when to let go of a relationship that is no longer healthy. If someone consistently hurts you despite your efforts to communicate and set boundaries, it might be time to reassess the relationship. This doesn't mean that you give up on people, but rather that you acknowledge when a relationship has become toxic and that staying in it will only continue to harm you. It's essential to recognize that sometimes walking away from a relationship is the healthiest choice, both for your physical and emotional well-being. Prioritizing your health and happiness over someone's inability to respect your boundaries is not only necessary but also a sign of strength. Remember that boundaries are not just for others, but they are a form of self-care. By respecting your own boundaries, you ensure that your needs and desires are met, and you create an environment in which you can thrive. It's important to realize that setting boundaries is an ongoing process. As you grow and change, your boundaries may evolve, and that's perfectly okay. Be kind to yourself as you navigate this journey, and remember that you deserve to be treated with love, respect, and care. Setting boundaries is about recognizing your value and ensuring that those around you understand and honor that value. Lastly, protecting yourself means taking proactive steps to preserve your peace of mind. In some cases, this might involve seeking professional help, such as counseling or therapy, to process your emotions, heal from past hurts, and develop a stronger sense of self. By setting boundaries and taking steps to protect yourself, you give yourself the best chance at living a healthy, fulfilling life, free from the harm caused by someone who doesn't respect you. Remember, you are deserving of love, safety, and respect, and it is your responsibility to ensure that your emotional and physical needs are met in any relationship. Recognizing your worth and knowing you deserve better is the first step in empowering yourself to handle a man who hurts you. Many times, people remain in unhealthy relationships because they don't believe they deserve better. They might feel trapped by love, guilt, fear of being alone, or simply by their own insecurities. The truth is, no matter how much you care for someone, you deserve to be treated with kindness, respect, and love. Recognizing your worth is a crucial part of your healing and growth. In abusive relationships, whether physical, emotional, or mental, the abuser often manipulates the victim into believing they are not worthy of love or respect. They may use tactics like guilt tripping, playing the victim, or making the victim feel responsible for the abuse. These manipulations can slowly chip away at your self-esteem and make you question your own value. However, it's important to understand that abuse is never the victim's fault. No one deserves to be hurt, belittled, or mistreated. Recognizing your worth means understanding that you are enough just as you are. You have intrinsic value, and you do not need to tolerate behavior that undermines that value. Start by reflecting on your own qualities, your achievements, and the love and respect you deserve in any relationship. When you begin to truly see yourself as valuable, it becomes easier to walk away from toxic relationships and set boundaries with individuals who do not treat you well. Sometimes, we forget to prioritize ourselves because we are conditioned to put others' needs before our own. This is especially true for those who have experienced abuse or emotional neglect. People in these situations often believe that by staying in the relationship and sacrificing their own happiness, they are showing love and loyalty. But in reality, self-sacrifice can lead to resentment, loss of self-worth, and emotional exhaustion. In such situations, it's important to recognize that loving yourself is not selfish. It is necessary for your well-being. Taking time to work on self-love and self-compassion is one of the most powerful things you can do to heal and break free from an abusive relationship. Self-love is not just about feeling good about yourself in the moment. It's about setting the standard for how others should treat you. When you know your worth, you won't settle for less than what you deserve. This mindset shift is often a key turning point in recovering from an abusive relationship. As you begin to understand that you are deserving of happiness and respect, it becomes easier to make decisions that are aligned with your values and your needs. Another important aspect of recognizing your worth is understanding that you are not defined by the mistakes or behaviors of others. Just because someone treats you poorly does not mean you are unworthy of love or respect. Everyone has imperfections, but no one has the right to hurt you or make you feel small. Recognizing your worth also involves knowing that your happiness is not tied to anyone else. While relationships can bring joy, they should not be the sole source of your self-esteem. When you develop a strong sense of self-worth, you become more resilient in the face of challenges and more confident in your ability to navigate life's difficulties. Once you recognize your worth, it will become clear that you are capable of thriving on your own, regardless of your relationship status. You don't need to rely on someone else to feel complete or valuable. Understanding that you are whole, independent, and worthy of love helps you break free from dependency and unhealthy attachments. This newfound independence will give you the courage to take control of your life and make decisions that prioritize your health and happiness. Finally, recognizing your worth will help you attract healthier relationships in the future. When you believe you deserve love, respect, and happiness, you will naturally gravitate toward people who treat you with the same kindness and care that you give yourself. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. By recognizing your worth and setting standards for how you should be treated, you create space for relationships that nurture your well-being rather than harm it. Remember, you are deserving of love that builds you up, not one that tears you down. Choosing to walk away from a toxic relationship is one of the most courageous steps you can take when you find yourself in a situation where a man is hurting you. It's not easy, especially when emotions are involved, but walking away is sometimes the healthiest choice for your emotional, mental, and even physical well-being. Many people stay in toxic relationships out of fear, love, guilt, or hope that the person will change, but it's important to realize that your peace, happiness, and self-respect should always come first. Toxic relationships can take many forms: verbal abuse, emotional manipulation, disrespect, betrayal, and even physical violence. Regardless of the form it takes, a toxic relationship harms your sense of self, depletes your energy, and makes you feel trapped. Walking away is not an act of abandoning the relationship. It is an act of reclaiming your life. It's a declaration that your well-being is more important than staying in a situation that continuously undermines your happiness. One of the main reasons people struggle to walk away from toxic relationships is the emotional attachment to the other person. It's difficult to sever ties with someone you've loved, or someone you've hoped would change. You might feel guilty for leaving, thinking you're giving up too soon or that you should do more to fix the relationship. However, it's crucial to understand that it's not your responsibility to fix someone who does not want to change or who continues to hurt you. People can only change if they are willing to do so, and if they are not making an effort to improve the relationship, it's not your job to bear the emotional burden alone. Moreover, toxic relationships often create a cycle of manipulation and guilt, which makes it harder to leave. Your partner might apologize, make promises to change, or beg you to stay. These moments can make you question your decision to leave, but it's important to stay focused on the long-term effects of staying. Words alone cannot heal the damage caused by ongoing toxic behavior. It's not about the occasional promise, it's about consistent actions and respect for your needs and boundaries. If they haven't made significant changes in their behavior despite your efforts to communicate your needs, it's a sign that staying will not bring you the peace or respect you deserve. Another factor that prevents people from walking away is fear. Fear of being alone, fear of the unknown, or fear of being judged by others. But it's important to realize that staying in an unhealthy relationship for the sake of fear is much worse than facing the discomfort of leaving. Yes, leaving can be challenging and uncertain, but it opens up space for healing, growth, and the opportunity to create a life filled with healthy relationships and happiness. You are capable of finding peace on your own and cultivating a fulfilling life without depending on someone who does not treat you well. When you make the decision to walk away, it's also essential to focus on the process of healing. Ending a toxic relationship is often like removing a weight from your shoulders. It may feel painful and uncertain at first, but it will gradually allow you to breathe more easily and rediscover your own strength. Healing after leaving a toxic relationship is a journey of reclaiming your self-worth, rebuilding your trust in others, and learning how to set healthy boundaries in future relationships. It's a process that requires time, self-reflection, and self-care, but ultimately, it leads to a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. To make this transition easier, start by surrounding yourself with supportive friends, family, or even a counselor. People who care about you can help you through this difficult time and remind you that you deserve better. They can provide emotional support and help you regain your confidence as you navigate life after the relationship. Additionally, focus on rediscovering things that bring you joy and fulfillment. Take time for hobbies, career goals, travel, or simply spending time alone to reconnect with yourself. Reclaiming your life after leaving a toxic relationship is about rediscovering who you are outside of the toxic dynamic. You may find new passions, new friendships, and a renewed sense of self-worth. As you heal, it's also crucial to remember that walking away from a toxic relationship does not mean you are weak or incapable of love. On the contrary, it means you have the strength and wisdom to protect yourself and make choices that align with your well-being. It takes immense courage to walk away from someone who has hurt you repeatedly, especially when you have invested emotionally in the relationship. But by doing so, you are making a statement that you value yourself enough to not tolerate disrespect or harm. Finally, walking away opens the door to healthier, more fulfilling relationships. By setting a strong precedent for how you should be treated, you are creating the foundation for future relationships built on mutual respect, love, and care. When you respect yourself enough to walk away from toxicity, you demonstrate that you won't settle for anything less than what you deserve. This, in turn, attracts people who share your values and are capable of offering the same respect and care in return. In conclusion, walking away from a toxic relationship is not easy, but it is often necessary for your well-being. It's an act of self-love and self-respect that frees you from the chains of emotional and physical pain. Remember that you deserve to be treated with kindness, respect, and love. By choosing to walk away, you are taking control of your life, your happiness, and your future. Healing after a breakup or hurtful relationship is essential for reclaiming your peace, joy, and sense of self-worth. When a relationship leaves you wounded, whether emotionally or physically, the process of healing can feel overwhelming, but it is not only possible, it's necessary for you to move forward. Healing is about learning from the experience, forgiving yourself and others, and ultimately rebuilding your confidence. It's about finding closure and allowing yourself the time and space needed to process what you've gone through. The first step in healing is acknowledging the hurt. You need to allow yourself to feel the pain and sadness that comes from a broken relationship. Many people try to avoid their emotions or suppress them because they fear being overwhelmed. But it's essential to remember that your feelings are valid, and it's okay to grieve. Healing begins when you face the reality of the situation and give yourself permission to mourn. Whether you were emotionally abused, betrayed, or simply hurt by the relationship's end, allow yourself to experience the full spectrum of emotions that come with it. Bottling up emotions only prolongs the healing process and keeps you stuck in the past. Once you allow yourself to feel, the next step is to focus on self-care. You need to prioritize your physical, emotional, and mental well-being during this period. Self-care is not just about pampering yourself with a bath or a massage, though those things can help. It's about taking the necessary actions to nourish your body and soul. This might mean getting more sleep, eating nourishing food, exercising, or even seeking therapy to help you process your emotions. Self-care also involves setting boundaries and cutting off contact with the person who hurt you. Limiting exposure to someone who has caused you pain will help create emotional space for you to heal. Another important aspect of healing is self-reflection. Reflecting on the relationship and what went wrong is a powerful way to learn from the experience. Ask yourself questions like, what did I learn about myself through this relationship? What red flags did I ignore? Or what boundaries did I fail to set? Self-reflection is not about blaming yourself or feeling guilty. It's about gaining insight into the patterns, behaviors, and choices that contributed to the situation. This process will not only help you heal, but it will also help you grow as an individual. Every experience, no matter how painful, teaches us valuable lessons. By reflecting on what went wrong, you will be better equipped to make healthier choices in future relationships. While reflecting is important, it's equally crucial to practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about excusing the other person's behavior or minimizing the hurt they caused. It's about letting go of the anger, resentment, and pain that are keeping you tied to the past. Holding on to negative emotions only harms you, as it keeps you stuck in a cycle of bitterness. Forgiving the person who hurt you and forgiving yourself for any perceived mistakes allows you to release the emotional baggage that comes with the pain. This act of forgiveness is a gift to yourself, as it frees you from the toxic emotions that prevent you from moving forward. After forgiveness, you can begin to rebuild your life. Healing is not just about letting go of the past, it's about rediscovering who you are and what you want for your future. Start focusing on your own dreams, passions, and goals. What are the things that make you feel alive? What have you always wanted to do but never had the chance? Use this time to invest in yourself. Take up new hobbies, further your education, or engage in activities that make you feel empowered. Rebuilding yourself after a breakup is about taking ownership of your own happiness. Part of rebuilding your life is also about surrounding yourself with supportive people. Your friends, family, or anyone who cares about you can help you through the healing process. They can offer a fresh perspective, provide encouragement, and remind you of your worth. Having a support system is vital for emotional recovery. It helps you feel less isolated and more connected to the people who truly care about your well-being. It's also a reminder that you don't have to go through the healing process alone. It's important to remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. There is no set timeline for recovery. Some people might heal quickly, while others need more time. There's no right way to heal, so give yourself the grace and patience to heal at your own pace. It's also important to recognize that healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened or pretending the hurt didn't occur. Instead, it means learning to accept what happened, finding peace with it, and moving forward in a way that aligns with your values and goals. In addition to rebuilding your confidence and strength, use this time to rediscover your own identity outside of the relationship. Often, when we're in a relationship, we can lose sight of who we are individually, as we become so entwined with the other person. Take this time to reconnect with yourself. Spend time alone to reflect, practice mindfulness, or do things that bring you joy. Remember that you are whole on your own and deserve to be loved for who you are. Finally, remember that healing doesn't mean you won't ever feel hurt again. It simply means that you have learned to navigate and manage your emotions in a healthy way. As you move forward, you will become more resilient, understanding, and equipped to deal with life's challenges. Healing is an ongoing process, but as you take it one day at a time, you'll find that you're emerging stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace new opportunities. Healing after being hurt by someone, particularly when the pain is inflicted by a partner or someone you trust, is a long and often difficult process. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a deep understanding of your own worth. The damage done by another person can take a significant toll on your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. However, it's important to know that you are not defined by the hurt that others have caused you. The strength to heal and move forward lies within you. It's a choice and a commitment to reclaim your life and build something new from the ruins of your past experiences. Healing is not a linear process, and it's essential to allow yourself the space and time to heal without rushing. The first and perhaps most essential step in healing is acknowledging and accepting your pain. Too often, people are encouraged to move on or get over it without fully processing what happened. But in order to heal, you must confront the hurt. You must give yourself permission to feel what you feel, no matter how intense or overwhelming those emotions may be. Whether you're feeling anger, sadness, or confusion, each emotion is valid. Your pain matters, and denying it only prolongs the suffering. Allowing yourself to feel gives you the opportunity to release that emotion rather than letting it fester inside you. Don't let anyone tell you that you should feel differently than you do. Your emotional experience is unique, and it's important to respect that. Once you've acknowledged your feelings, the next step is to begin working through them. One way to do this is by expressing your emotions in healthy ways. You may not have been able to express yourself fully when you were hurt, but now you have the opportunity to release that pent-up emotion. You could consider journaling, speaking to a trusted friend, or seeking professional counseling. Talking about your emotions with someone you trust can help lighten the emotional load you carry. It's not about seeking pity or validation, but rather about finding someone who can listen and offer empathy. Speaking about what you've gone through gives you the space to reflect on the experience, and when done in a safe environment, it can promote emotional healing. In addition to expressing your emotions, it's also important to focus on self-care during this time. Healing is not only about mental and emotional recovery, it also involves your physical well-being. Often emotional trauma can manifest physically, whether through fatigue, loss of appetite, or even physical pain. This is why self-care is critical. Take time to nurture your body, mind, and soul. Exercise, eat nourishing food, get enough sleep, and engage in activities that bring you peace and joy. Self-care might look different for everyone, but it's an essential practice for maintaining balance and regaining a sense of stability. When we are hurt, it's easy to neglect ourselves, but prioritizing your health will make the healing process smoother. As you work through your emotions, it's also important to focus on forgiveness. This can be one of the most challenging aspects of healing, especially when the pain was caused by someone you loved or trusted. But forgiveness is not about excusing the behavior or minimizing the harm that was done to you. Instead, it's about releasing the emotional grip that the other person's actions have on you. Holding on to anger or resentment only keeps you tied to the past and prevents you from moving forward. It's important to recognize that forgiving someone doesn't mean you forget what they did, but it means you no longer allow their actions to control your life. Forgiveness is for your peace, not theirs. It's a step toward emotional freedom and healing. The next phase of healing is about rebuilding your confidence and sense of self-worth. After a hurtful experience, it's natural to feel broken or unworthy. The damage done can shake your sense of identity and cause you to doubt your value. But you are not defined by someone else's actions. Your worth is inherent, and it cannot be diminished by the treatment of others. This is the time to reconnect with who you are at your core. Take time to rediscover your passions, your values, and your goals. Set new intentions for your life, and focus on creating the future you want. Rebuilding your confidence is about remembering your strengths, your resilience, and your ability to move forward. Another key part of healing is creating boundaries with the person who hurt you or even with yourself. If the individual is still in your life, setting clear emotional and physical boundaries is necessary to protect yourself from further harm. Boundaries are not about punishing the other person, they're about protecting your own peace. If this person is toxic or continues to hurt you, it may be necessary to limit contact or even sever ties completely. Remember that you are entitled to protect yourself from people who do not respect you or your emotional well-being. Setting boundaries also means that you are taking responsibility for your own emotional health, and you are no longer allowing anyone to invade your space or manipulate your emotions. In addition to boundaries, self-reflection plays a crucial role in healing. By reflecting on what happened, you can gain insight into yourself and the situation. What were the signs that you may have missed? What have you learned about your own needs, desires, and limits? Self-reflection is not about placing blame on yourself, but rather understanding how the experience shaped you and what you can take away from it. It's about using this time to learn, grow, and become more aware of your needs in future relationships. Self-reflection gives you the wisdom to make healthier choices going forward and helps prevent you from repeating past mistakes. Finally, remember that healing is a journey. There is no set timeline, and it will take time to rebuild yourself after a hurtful experience. Some days will be harder than others, but it's important to remain patient with yourself. Healing doesn't mean that the pain goes away completely, but rather that you learn how to cope with it, process it, and move forward. As you heal, you will find new strength, resilience, and an even greater sense of self-love. Healing may take time, but it is absolutely worth it. With every step you take toward healing, you are rediscovering your true power.